Which word of the day? Today's word is hex, verb. A hex is the practice of casting a negative spell over something or someone. While curses can be done by anyone, hexing is performed by those who specifically practice witchcraft. A hex usually has short-term effects and doesn't affect someone as severely. Hexes generally cause mental torture or physical damage or bring bad luck, like you may lose a job, or you may fail an exam, or have an unhappy accident.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series. Welcome back, Spellworders, to Words of the Witches, the podcast you never knew you needed. Yes, we're talking about Charmed books. I do want to thank Aaron. He was the first person to purchase a shirt from the wordsofthewitches.threadless.com store. He bought a canonical tank. I'm very excited to see him in it. It's on the way. So if you're interested in some of the merch we have, please check out wordsofthewitches.threadless.com. I ordered stuff myself too. I'm probably going to start wearing them on the pod because I'm really proud of the designs. So check them out. The book this week is Hurricane Hex. Funny enough, this is the third book in a row that's two words that are alliterated. We had Picture Perfect, Demon Doppelgangers, and now Hurricane Hex. I don't know. I just think that's kind of fun. Earlier this week was Memorial Day. It was 90 degrees here in Wisconsin, which is super exciting. I'm very happy to enjoy some of that sunshine. But I got a really wonderful message over the weekend, and I thought I'd share it. So listen to this.
Kevin, Greg Vaughn here, a.k.a. Dan Gordon. Anyway, got your message. I appreciate you. Work hard to do what I love. Always nice to leave a little button and a little something to get people excited about. But anyway, I hope you're having a great Memorial weekend, and thank you for all your support. And congrats. Best wishes on your podcast. This is Greg Vaughn, a.k.a. Dan Gordon. You're listening to Words of Witches, a Charm podcast.
So there we have it. Dan the Man, Greg Vaughn, congratulating us on the podcast. Very grateful, very happy. That was wonderful. He didn't quite get the name of the show right, but that's okay. I'll forgive it. It was just meaningful enough that he took the time to send a message. So, wonderful. I'm so happy. And with that, let's get on with the episode. This is Words of the Witches, episode 35. We're doing Hurricane Hex. And I have Jared with me as my guest. Hello. Before we start getting into the book and stuff, let's just talk about your charmed journey and all that stuff. How did you discover the show?
Oh, God. I was 2, so I was 22 years ago.
You were 2.
Yeah. My parents would drop me off at my cousin's to be babysat, and that's all she would watch, so, I would watch it. And then as I got older for, school, I'd watch it on TNT before school and then watch it after school. Kind of just been watching it ever since.
That's crazy. So, because I was 10 when it started, so I feel like an old person now. But that's cool, and you have been becoming quite a collector as well, and finding some things, and you got some screen used things.
Well, the first screen used thing I got, I don't remember what prompted me to get it, but I was kind of just prowling eBay one day, and this guy, he had potion satchels, and they're like $20 a piece, and I'm like, well, it's cool, why not? And then I swung big and got the sword.
Yes, the crystal sword. From which brew is it anyway?
Yeah, just swung big on that one. And just little things here and there. Boomerang. I think that might be it for screen use stuff. Oh, magic school shield.
Yeah, and you got a Zen robe?
Oh, yeah, I gave that away as a gift.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Give that to Brittany?
Uh-huh.
Yes, okay. I just got some screen use stuff myself. It was a friend that had them already. Tuatha's Wand,
Nice.
which is exciting. And then one of the level 2 demons from Give Me a Sign screen use one of those. So those are on the way.
Nice.
So I'm excited. So yeah, cool. Collecting. Cool. Did you have a favorite episode or anything like that?
Well, with Prue, I would say that 70s show. Just, I don't know why. Just the pure emotion in it and how naturally it comes to everyone. It's just a really good episode.
Yeah, that 70s episode. Yeah, very nice.
I'd say with Paige, I would have to say season 7, Cheaper by the Coven.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Very good. Very good family-oriented episodes.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll start this book. Hurricane Hex, season 6 promo pictures, but I'm going to tell you it does not take place in season 6.
I picked that up, yeah.
We're nearing the end of the season 6 promo pictures. I think we have this one, and then next one. I think that might be it for season 6 promo pictures for the books. You know, they're very nice. It has some giant lightning in the background. It looks like some kind of building or warehouse, and some trees and headlights, some sky. And it says, a dark cloud is gathering over the Sunshine State. The Sunshine State? They're in Florida?
I was reading the book. I'm like, why Florida? We could, pick Wisconsin. They walk into the general store and it's just, it's the Charmed Ones, don't you know? There's demons running about. Just full Midwest accent.
The UP peoples, yes. So yeah, they go to Florida. In the back of the book says, a woman in peril, a storm prolonged, consequences of a spell gone wrong. Come together, quell the anger, unite to save a friend in danger. Despite the fact that it's hurricane season, Phoebe, Piper, and Paige decide to take a trip to the Sunshine State. After spending a few days at Phoebe's advice column seminar in Orlando, the Charmed Ones head a few miles north to pay a visit to Sharon Grant, Paige's best friend from college. They arrive just as a hurricane in South Florida changes course and starts heading toward them. The three sisters soon discover that the dangerous storm isn't their only worry. It seems that Sharon has taken up practicing folk magic with a quirky neighbor who has an unhealthy obsession with Florida folklore. Aware that large storms can affect magic in mysterious and catastrophic ways, the Charmed Ones must batten down the hatches and convince their hostess and her friend to stop casting spells before they find themselves trapped in the eye of a real mess. So that's that. Written by Diana G. Gallagher, who wrote a lot of books before this and will write some after. Beware What You Wish, Spirit of the Wolf, Dark Vengeance, Mist and Stone, Mystic Knoll, and Old Family Recipe in the War and Witches book is what we covered so far. And this was published February 7th, 2006 and reprinted March 6th, 2006.
Oh, cool. I was 7.
You were 7. Weird. I was 18. Graduated high school that year. This is the 33rd novel, the 33rd numbered book, but the 35th book that we're covering. And the internet says that it takes place between season 5, episode 18, Cat House, and Oh My Goddess. So episode 22, Oh My Goddess, part 1. So chapter 1, the sisters are already in Orlando. They're just there. We don't see them travel there or nothing, but they're there for Phoebe has a writer's conference. Elise asked Phoebe to go to this writer's conference. She had a friend there and they schmoozed and she gave lectures and stuff. And now it's over and they're just chilling by the pool. They're like, yeah, we're going to have a good time. Paige also has a college friend in the area, so she's thinking about her college friend Sharon. Piper goes into a gift shop that's close by to pick up some things to bring up back to Wyatt. She's like, I can get some toys for him. He's there with Leo and he misses me. He's kind of grumpy because I'm not there. And she overheard some chit chat about the likelihood of Hurricane George, they're calling it, hitting the area. She's watching the news. She's like, should I be concerned about this? I'm a little concerned about this. They go to dinner, and at dinner, Piper tells her sisters that the storm is on the way, but they should be in the clear where they're going. It doesn't look like it will hit there. And then Paige thinks that her college friend Sharon and her husband, Ben, are having marital trouble. Ben contacted me but he didn't say why. I wonder if they're having a fight.
Chapter 2 starts off, Paige drives to visit her friend Sharon, and we learn that, they're very competitive in nature. Ben broke them directions. Which I think is, personally for me, is kind of weird because I never got that Paige was competitive.
No, I think Sharon, they're saying Sharon is competitive, her friend.
Got it.
Yeah.
In the reading, I was still a little confused by that. I'm like,
right, because I guess it was like she didn't want to like step on her toes or anything. Because I don't know if Paige was per se, but she was afraid of like even doing anything that would even like get in Sharon's way about her attitude. So I think that's more what it was.
Once on their bog forest property, Paige orbs a fox across the street to avoid running it over.
I hope no one saw that.
Well, I mean, it's a bog. Attributed swamp gas.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. Greeting Sharon and Ben, Paige notes that they look great, and she wonders how she will tell them about quitting her job, which is kind of interesting to me. I mean, if she hasn't seen him in so long, things change over time. Why would she be embarrassed about it or, make mild?
Last thing they knew that she was still working for South Page Social Services, but is she going to like think lowly of me now that I'm not?
The girls get settled for the night. Phoebe tells Paige she didn't get any premonitions of either Sharon or Ben. Wouldn't that be personal gain? A little bit?
Well, yeah, a little bit, because I guess she was legit trying to get a premonition off of them. She's like, hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? I mean, if you didn't think that they were in any kind of danger, I mean, if you're going to trying to get premonition, if you think of demons after them or something like that, but if you're going there just trying to solve their marital problems with premonitions, that's a problem. So
the sisters discuss how Sharon has been hovering around Ben, but she doesn't think it's fear or infidelity. The next day, Sharon catches up with Paige. Paige admits she's between jobs, and Sharon suggests temping, which I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I'm like,
that's how it came into play.
Interesting. I'm like, oh.
At this point, Paige is kind of coming off a little more insecure to me, in that she's kind of valuing these people's perceptions a little too highly.
Yeah. So maybe this was something that she kind of did in college. I don't know. Maybe she kind of had this, and when she's around her, it comes out. I don't know.
Could be. Piper talks to Leo on the phone, and Wyatt is doing good. Piper takes comfort in the fact that Wyatt's powers haven't gone too awry.
Yeah, it's another like, clearly season 6 happened when this book was written.
I was going to say, give it a year. There's going to be a dragon around.
Yeah.
Piper brings up the incoming hurricane, and the neighbors reminisce about past hurricanes. That was fun. I liked that part. That was spooky.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the ghost stories.
Margaret starts off saying the last one very strange. Piper found it curious.
Yeah, she's like, that last one, very strange. Okay. So that chapter 3 is when they kind of get into the stories of these hurricanes. So the neighbors are Margaret and Agnes. They tell the story. Back in the 1800s, 4 members of one family died. So it's all the same family. And then the priest that was supposed to like do their rites or whatever died too. So they were buried in unmarked graves on property.
Mm-hmm.
Years later, a farmer discovered the graves, but respected them. He's like, oh, well, I don't want to upset the spirits over here. So I'm just going to build around them, let them live there happily and whatever. But in 1960, the state of Florida purchased the land and built an interstate over the graves, despite being informed about them. So the daughter of the farmer, she knew about them. She told the state, they're like, whatever, we'll just build over them. I'm like, all right, rude. I don't know. That's not right. Sure. And then that was Hurricane Donna in the 60s. And Hurricane Donna arrived and then followed the exact same path that the new interstate was supposed to be built on. It was starting to be built on, and it halted the road work for months. Like, how curious. Margaret says that the section of the highway that they did end up build over the graves is called the dead zone because more accidents happen there. There's paranormal activities happening there. People say they see some ghosts and stuff. They're like, ooh. And this is where we kind of get a separation because Phoebe observes, she's like, Ben and Agnes are the skeptical ones who don't believe in this type of stuff. But then Sharon and Margaret seem to be believers. They're like, yes, this is totally true.
It's the Odd Couple. It's two versions of the Odd Couple.
Yeah. Piper is anxious about the hurricane and wants to keep informed and prepares for the changes. So she's like looking at the news. She's like, I don't know. Maybe we should just prepare just in case. So then Phoebe walks Agnes home. She's like, I'll walk you home. I need something to do. And she's a dog named Pancho, and they walk home together. Phoebe touched some Spanish moss in the forest and then was bitten by like tiny red bugs living in them. And I did find out recently that that's a real thing. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Agnes tends to Phoebe, but then they lose track of the dog Pancho. Agnes fears an alligator snatched him. I'm like, oh no. I was like, poor dog. But then Phoebe finds Pancho and tries to coax him to her. She's like, come on, let me get over here. And then when she does eventually get him, she has a premonition, and she sees the hurricane coming to their area and hitting them very hard.
Now, chapter 4. So Paige is getting a little snackish. She wants a little tasty something to eat, and she wants to go snooping. She wants her cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Which I was like, you're in your friend's house. Calm down a little bit. Just chill.
Like, she won't mind me just going through the pantry and chilling and eating some food. I don't know.
Well, yeah. And then, studio completely set up, not used, just nothing. So Paige really could have been painting this whole time. She had no competition.
Nope.
She gets some cashews, drops the lid on the floor, and finds a little spell bag. Velvet spell bag. Now, if that were happening, I would have thought right off the bat, like, this isn't a normal vacation.
Yeah.
Something's happening. Something's in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's hiding under the pantry. Obviously, it's hidden. Paige thinks it's a protection charm and of sorts since Sharon believed in the ghosts. Weird. After Paige returned to bed, Piper went outside with a flashlight and called for Leo. Piper, she goes outside. She's missing her husband. There's no cell service. Obviously, it's late. She can't call him on the telephone without waking up the whole house. But it's a little kind of weird that she's really needing Leo right now when there's really not much in the air, not much going on.
Right. She's just like, I want to check on him. I want to see why it's doing. Tell me how you're doing. Maybe it's just general curiosity, but I don't know. Seems kind of risky.
Yeah, especially when it's dark out.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to glow up the street.
Yeah. All right. Leo arrives. Wyatt is crying because he misses mommy. Just little separation issues.
Yeah.
Piper informs Leo of Phoebe's vision that a hurricane will hit. I would have got out of there at that point.
I know. This is weird to me that they stay.
Yeah.
And they, I don't know what the point is. Like, okay, we had a nice visit. Cool, we can go now. I don't know why they insist on staying.
We're leaving in the morning for no reason.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Just form out of there. Leo tells Piper he had a charge here during Hurricane Donna, and that was intense storms can affect magic in unpredictable ways. So best to avoid casting spells. Yeah, I would have left right there.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's going to mess up our magic too? Yeah, let's just go home.
Yeah, you can't leave during it. I would have been like, all right, bye. Yep,
yeah.
We're leaving now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The next day, chapter 5, Paige acts like she just found the spell bag and confronts Sharon. She's like, oh yeah, la la la, I'm just going to do some cleaning. She's like, what's the spell bag that I just found for the first time this morning?
I was getting some food, just trifling through your stuff, and I noticed this.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about this?
Yeah. And Sharon says it's there to ward off rodents and insects. She's like, yeah, that's just, it keeps them away. But she's obviously covering for something. She's not telling the whole story. So, okay. Everyone else is preparing for the hurricane. They start getting some supplies. They start getting ice ready and making sure they do their laundry, trying just to make sure they're as prepared as possible. Paige speaks to Ben alone, what she's been wanting to do. And Ben tells Paige that Margaret was helping Sharon a lot when they got there with her own kind of natural remedies. And, Sharon was really liking the effects that were helping her a lot. But then soon have gotten into other occult folk magic. together. So they both like, oh, this is really beneficial for us. Let's just do some more. And so Ben
Right.
doesn't really like it. Ben says Sharon's obsession with folk magic is putting a damper on their relationship. Okay. Phoebe helps Agnes prepare at her house. So yeah, well, they're at Sharon's house. Phoebe's at Agnes's house, just kind of like tidying up. She's like moving things away from the windows, and they talk about Frank, Agnes's husband who died. So a few years ago, her husband died, and they just talk about him. She remembers him. There is a nice moment in here where Phoebe thinks about Cole. Because I think at this point in the show, she never mentioned Cole in a positive light ever. So she says something. Let me see what it says. She tried not to dwell on it, but she still had an ache in her heart for Cole Turner, the lost love of her life. She probably always would. So she talks about how she would probably always miss Cole, and even despite everything. I'm like, I mean, that's pretty mature of her to admit. I don't know if she ever would have done that in the show.
Probably not. Probably not.
So there you go. That's a cool part. Phoebe gets a vision of Agnes and Pancho vanishing in the mist of the hurricane as she's helping move things around. She's like, oh no, they're gonna get lost. What does this mean? Piper and Margaret now are driving to the store to get groceries and supplies. As they're driving, Margaret tells Piper she thinks she saw a ghost last night, but Piper silently realizes that she was talking about Leo. She's like, oh, she saw his orbs. Oh no. It's at this point too where she realizes that Margaret doesn't hear very well. She's like hearing random things or not hearing the full sentences, and so at the store, Margaret was about to get hit by a forklift because she couldn't hear the beeping, and she's looking for batteries, and this forklift is coming and it's going beep beep beep, and then she's about to get crushed. So Piper's like, oh my god. She freezes the scene and like moves Margaret out of the way, and then she quickly unfreezes everything. And then afterward, Margaret berates the driver for not watching where he's going. And then the driver gets mad for her not moving faster. She's like, that's what the beeps mean, lady. But really, it's really up to the forklift driver. It's really his responsibility. So I feel like he was not doing his job properly. But still, there you go.
Chapter 6. Paige puts on her Inspector Gadget hat and decides to do some more snooping. She finds Sharon's magical stash of magical ingredients in the pantry, and then she orbs out to avoid being caught. Now, I may be crazy, but orbing makes a sound, right? A pretty loudish, high-pitched sound.
High-pitched jingle jingle, yeah.
I think I would hear that and wonder, what's going on?
I was like, oh, are the chimes going outside? Maybe it's the wind. Maybe it's the hurricane coming.
All right. After dinner, Agnes, Margaret, Piper, Phoebe, and Ben play dominoes. Dominoes are lit. Dominoes are fun.
Yeah. You know how to play the actual game, dominoes?
I know how to play a couple different ways of it, yeah.
Okay. I've always tried, but I don't think I ever did it properly. I just do the whole like domino like maze where you like let them fall. I've done those, but never did the game.
All right. Paige is a little more curious, so she wants to help Sharon with the dishes. Now, this kind of took me by surprise because Paige was kind of being objective, but Sharon gets pretty short with Paige, assuming she's siding with Ben. Now, it seems like she's siding with Ben, but I really think she's just trying to stay neutral because she knows the effects of magic.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Paige tells Sharon that she needs to stop messing around. Herbs are dangerous. True. Sharon just thought having ferns around would be good for protection. That one seems fine to me. That's just like a superstition. That one's fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have thoughts about that, which I'll talk about at the end when we do our final thoughts. But yeah, I have thoughts.
Later, Paige. Oh no, Sharon thinks Paige is being condescending and judgmental. Kind of. Later, Paige overhears Sharon and Margaret talking. Sharon knew Paige got into her stash. Margaret and Sharon cast a spell to get Paige off her back. Piper and Phoebe find it interesting that Margaret, a former school teacher with respect for science, still finds interest in folk magic. Yeah. It's like Christian. Yeah. Paige comes by and tells her sisters that she needs to stop meddling in Sharon's and Ben's business. Phoebe goes on about how she has to answer these Ask Phoebe letters. Piper wants Paige to orb her home to Leo. they all become incessantly caught up in their own business.
Yes, so we know that this is the effects of the spell, and they're all affected. We found out later that's because she didn't know which hair was Paige's, so she just took all the hair and did it.
Just guess who?
Yeah, but sure. Chapter 7, Margaret and Sharon go out into the storm to pour potion on trees so they won't fall over. She's like, let's go. We need to do our magic in the trees. Piper ignores them and calls for Leo. He orbs in again with Wyatt, and Piper is ready to come home. She's like, let's go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to be with you and Wyatt. And he's like, it's too late now. You should have asked me this last night. Now we're in the middle of the hurricane. Too bad. Where was I? Leo knows she needs to stay here and see the trip through, like see the storm out. And he also finds Piper's actions suspicious and asks if she's done any magic because he sees that she's kind of a little wild, a little obsessive about them. So he's like, Paige takes a shower and notices her brush was misplaced. Yeah, that's something to note. That's weird to me. And then the power goes out. And this is when... Wait, the power goes out, I guess. And then they hear the radio. So this must be after the power goes out for a while. And then the next morning, maybe. Because I'm like, wait, okay. But then they hear on the radio that the storm will get worse. Margaret's magic ointment improved her hearing greatly. And it's also enhanced by the hurricane. So yeah, right now, they're making fun of Margaret for like being deaf all the time. And she's like, hey, I heard that. And so her hearing is actually better than it was before, even. And they're oh.
She turned into Dolores from Encanto.
Yes. She's like, oh, what? What'd you say about me? Yeah. So, so she's like super hearing now. Phoebe is torn between her desire to write her column and her desire to ensure Agnes's safety. She's like, I really got to write these letters, but I heard that version of Agnes. What should I do? Oh, I don't know. But Phoebe decides to go upstairs and work after a while. She's like, yeah. Oh yeah, I know why. Because they had batteries in the radio. That's why the radio was working. So the power is still out, but the radio was on because of the batteries. Now it makes sense. And it was Phoebe she was writing her column by candlelight then?
I think her laptop still had some power.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she charged it
beforehand. There we go.
Yeah, because she talked about writing it on the paper from the notes on the screen.
Yes. Okay. So she's up there working. After a few hours, she came out. She's like, I'm done now. And then everyone says that they lost Agnes. She went out to go get her dog, and then she never came back. So she's gone somewhere. And then Phoebe just gets incredibly guilty. She feels this wave of guilt all over her. She's like, oh my gosh, I should have been here.
Chapter 8. The group realizes that they don't have a lot of time to find her before the storm takes her out. Margaret suggests a spell to stall the storm to Ben's disapproval. I mean, I would have too. It's a hurricane.
Yeah.
Margaret and Sharon eventually proceed with their spell, which includes ginger spit. Gross.
And I was like, ew. Like just chewing on some ginger and then spitting it out all around. I'm like, okay, that's the weirdest spell.
Mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
Come on.
Easy.
Leo arrives behind Piper, stating that Daryl and Sheila are watching Wyatt now. Piper sneaks him into the guest room and tries to seduce him. Leo thinks she's acting weird. There's a hurricane around. Let's go. Come on. No.
It's like, Leo, let's go into the bedroom. No one will see you. And then she's like, Leo, we're in the bedroom.
It's the horror movie when the teens sneak off to the woods and get axe murdered.
Yes. Very
That's exactly what it is. Leo thinks someone has to be using magic, orbs out to get Phoebe and Paige. The ritual is complete, and Ben is determined to rescue Agnes, but Margaret informs him they just have to wait. Paige goes up to find Piper and notices the fern in the hall has grown massive, but quickly leaves again. Paige finds Ben, Sharon, Margaret in the garage. A bunch of alligators were attracted to the mugwort in Margaret's shoes. This chapter's busy.
Yeah, so she put stuff in her shoes, I guess, to be
ward off the animals. Yeah.
Yeah, but now the alligators want it.
It's basically opposite day.
Yeah.
In the magical community.
Yeah, the storm is making everything go haywire. Mixing things up and yeah.
Paige leaves them with the alligators and finds Phoebe.
She's like, oh, good, they're distracted. I'm just gonna go.
They're just lizards. They're fine. The three sisters and Leo reconvene in the guest room. Leo thinks the presence of the charmed ones is amplifying the effects of the folk magic.
Yeah, so we got the hurricane amplifying things, but then it's amplified even more so because the charmed ones happen to be there. Sure.
Full moon, Red Bull, vodka. Just triple threat.
Yeah.
Combined with the hurricane, the whole area around the house. See, I'm curious how far the distortion of magic is reaching.
Some kind of radius of sorts, but yeah, we don't know exactly.
Yeah, like it just must be solely like the hurricane itself and the eye and the few miles around it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the whole house is distorted with magic. Agnes and Pancho are somehow caught up in the magic. Leo says too, if they don't stop the hurricane from being stalled soon, the destruction could kill everyone in the house.
Right, because they say like the way that the storm moves, like the back half of it is always like torn apart. So like while you're in the eye of it, you're safe, but as it moves forward, the destruction gets worse and something like that. So chapter 9, Paige returns to Ben, Sharon, and Margaret with the alligators as an azalea plant breaks through the ground and wraps around Sharon's leg. So now it's like Jumanji, the plants and the vines. Ben grabs like a machete thing or axe and hacks her free, which is another very, very Jumanji moment. Margaret's hearing has become too good, and now any sounds cause her pain. Any loud sounds like hurt her. So Paige gives her like some noise canceling headphone stuff, and she's like, "Where are these? That'll help." Great, cool. Paige explains that the effects of the folk medicine are crazy because of the storm. Things are unstable. We kind of set this up already where, things are going opposite. They're going crazy amplified or whatever. It's just doing unpredictable things. Ben gloats that he knew something bad would happen if she messed with magic. She's like, now look what you did, Sharon. How awful are you? They tell Sharon that she has to destroy all of her charms. Every little magic bag she has around the house, any spell she's done, they have to like reverse it and burn the stuff. In the kitchen, Phoebe gets a vision of Agnes and Pancho frozen in space. So they're kind of like in that mist, but they're not actually like moving. They're not activated. They're just kind of like in like
they're safe right now.
Yeah, they're safe. And they're just kind of like in a frozen state, sort of. And then she gets another vision of a past spell that Sharon and Margaret did on the sisters. So the spell that they cast where Paige was in the room, she has a vision of that happening. Mm-hmm. Leo tells them they have to figure out a way to reverse their spell. And then the azaleas that are wrapping around everything, they become like giant trees now. They're like super big azaleas. And Ben has to chainsaw them. So he's like, I gotta clear the ritual space. We need this ritual space to like reverse the spell. So, and she's like chainsaws everywhere. Margaret and Sharon are confronted about the spell, and then they reveal how they did it. So this is when she talks about how we got the hair and we did this and this and this. And so now they have a clue of how to reverse it. Leo got to thinking about the storm stall spell and how it's stalling, and believes that now it's out of Margaret's control. And only the power of 3 have the power to stop it. He's like, the magic has gotten too big and too distorted and too crazy that, we need the power of 3 to do anything.
The end of that chapter, I loved it. It was good. It
Yeah.
was funny. It was very Clue. Everyone had a magnifying glass.
It was. We are on the case.
All right. Chapter 10, the spell on the sisters is reversed. About time. Leo wants the sisters now to drain any excess magic so the mass destruction can be avoided. That's weird to me. We'll talk about that after. The girls say that they can add their personal power to Margaret's spell to reverse it, but they still keep their identities and true magic a secret. They call upon the power of 3, dissipating the magical forces, but Mother Nature's forces were still there, pulling apart the house. Part of the house.
Yeah, right.
The alligators were free to come after him, but Piper froze them. Paige went looking for Agnes. After a green flash, they appeared out of nowhere. Paige orbed her and Pancho inside. Well, she might know what's up now.
Yeah.
Everyone is relieved to have Agnes back. Paige is soaked. Sharon and Margaret vow to give up the craft. They feel they shouldn't play with the forces they can't control.
yeah, so that's chapter 10. And then we have a little epilogue here. The aftermath of the storm. Sharon apologizes to Paige, and she's like, I am really glad you came. Yeah, I'm going to go back to my painting now. Leo learns that Daryl and Sheila discovered that Wyatt was teething, and that's why he was grumpy. Not because he just missed Mommy and he hated Leo so much. He's just having a hard time with his teeth. And then the sisters realize that vacations aren't necessarily relaxing, and they look forward to heading home. The end. So that was a relatively short book, and we went through it really quick. But what are your overall thoughts?
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think the book kind of raises some questions too that I'm curious about. Like, the show takes place mainly in San Francisco. We don't see much wandering outside of San Francisco. So is this much crazy town just happening everywhere and people are just dealing with it?
Yeah. I mean, is this what happens every time there's a hurricane everywhere, or just because there's magic afoot?
Is little Sabrina and Aunt Hilda, are they fighting demons, out east, and they need help? Who do they call?
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole siphoning thing Leo suggested about the power of 3, I thought that was odd.
Very strange. And then I don't know why they were... I get that he was trying to keep the secret, but I feel like at this point, when they know there's magic afoot and everything, why you got to be so secretive?
Yeah. Leo could have, after, erased some memories.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. We're in charge. We're going to fix this, but you're not going to remember any of it.
Right. Because they're like, yeah, we can reverse your spell. We can add our personal power to it, but we're not witches. We're not witches. We're just going to do the spell right here. Like,
coincidentally, we're witches as well, but
yeah. Tisk, you guys, for doing magic. Tisk. But we can do magic freely because we're better than you.
Are Margaret and Sharon, do they have witch blood but no active powers? Or can all mortals kind of do folk magic?
This thing, because in Charmed, there's magical witches with powers, and then there's witch practitioners.
Yeah.
So, who are mortals that just practice like Wicca and actual crafty stuff, and they do things. Like, think of Jana, too. I mean, she had the amulet, so she knew about magic, but she didn't have any magical powers. She just was a practitioner.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which I would consider these people witch practitioners. I was mad at this book. I didn't really like this book as much as I wanted to, because there was fun. There's some Jumanji action. I liked some of the Jumanji action, and I liked there's the little mystery to be solved. But in general, I thought the plot was a little meh.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Which interesting to me too, and I feel like really all the problems that they had, all this magical issues, I feel like this happened because the sisters were there to begin with. If the sisters weren't there, they just would have had maybe a little bit of amplification of magic with their little folk magic, and the hurricane would have happened, and everything would have been, their lives would have just carried on. Yeah. It's because the sisters were there that the problem happened.
They came in, caused the drama, and said, "We'll fix it. Yeah, it's fine. We'll fix it."
So that was interesting to me.
What I thought, and this is kind of going back into like the earlier chapters when Sharon and Margaret are doing their little spell in the kitchen with hair, and Paige is watching. She doesn't recognize her own hair.
Right.
And they're chanting, and she just walks in like, "Oh, snack." Like, something's going on, pal.
Okay, well, I remember they talked about that chapter, and I think she was kind of watching, and she kind of knew what was up, but she wanted to act like she didn't know what was going on. She tried to play dumb. She's like, "Oh, hey, everybody, what's going on?" But then she realizes that they're already too far ahead on the spell, and that's when she tries to orb away, but the spell already took effect on her before. So she kind of knew, but she was just dumb with her execution.
I think if I were in this situation, the first inkling that something spooky is happening, I'm shutting it down.
Right.
Like, I don't care if they think or it's pretending. We're done. Go to your rooms.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. They would have never, because the spell that they did on them was a huge problem. This made a lot of things go afoot. But if Paige would have minded her own business, they never would have cast that spell to begin with either.
It's a lot of give and take in this book.
So it's like you should have just went home after your little writer's retreat and never visited your friends. Called her on the phone. But sure.
Yeah.
I do think Diana, because she writes a lot of the book, she does know the characters very well and she knows the show very well. I like that I said the book was clearly written with foresight because the author knew all of the events of season 6 and then decided to put the story before season 6 and then sprinkle little clues about what will happen. I did like that. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Like the temp jobs and Wyatt's powers. And so this is where I was mad, because I thought Paige was kind of a jerk. She was all on her case about the natural approach to life. Because I found the practices were, I didn't think they were obsessed. I didn't think they were going overboard. Ben might have had a case, because if Ben's living in the house and Sharon's spending a lot of time doing this and it's affected him, he should have been the only one that would have had a say, I think. Because, it does affect him. But I thought, to me, they were just kind of doing innocent ways of bettering their life. They're just doing typical folk magic stuff, superstition stuff, and they were actually doing research. They weren't just doing stuff willy-nilly. They were researching this stuff, too.
To be fair, I can kind of see why he'd have an issue with it, because they were treading that fine line of, this snake oil will fix your life.
Yeah. Getting a little too in that more of like that scam kind of territory.
Yeah, just a little too enthusiastic. Like, I think he thought they were living more in a fantasy world than this is a rock.
And that's valid. I mean, that is valid. And I think Ben being angry, he does have validity in that. I don't think the sisters really have anything to have a say in it. But because their point of view is saying that you shouldn't mess with stuff you don't know about. Like, you don't know magic. We know magic. You don't know magic. And I feel like she was definitely overboard, and she was definitely too into it and too gullible, maybe sometimes too willing to believe stuff. But I think what they were doing was helping them and good for them. It was only about their personal life stuff. So I was just mad at the insinuation that they were just they're not educated. They're gonna do sacrifices. They're gonna summon demons. They're gonna do crazy stuff. When I didn't think that was ever the case.
Yeah. I don't think they were going to go full swing into witchcraft either. I think they were just having fun curing some ailments here and there. Yeah.
Let's make a cream for my face, or make this ointment to help me hear better. It's very innocent stuff. I mean, if something was going to go wrong, if it was going to cause them problems, I think if at the first sign of that, they would have, rethought about it,
Yeah.
Put that in my canonical hat.
Canonical.
So this is the segment where we take the story and determine what is and what is not canon to the narrative of the show, and then if we would like this to be an episode. So is there anything you could think of that stood out to you?
I don't think Paige would have orbed the fox. I think she would have slammed the brakes.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think she would have taken that risk in an environment she doesn't know who's around, who's watching, what's not watching.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that the book, I was going back to the time frame of this, because they say between Cat House and Oh My Goddess, I think this would have taken place either right before or right after Oh My Goddess. Because if it was any time before Necromancy in the Stone, Jason would be in the picture, and then because they talk about Phoebe going off to find some guys in the beginning of the book, and she wouldn't have done that if Jason was in the picture. So it had to be after he moved to Hong Kong or something, and they were in a weird place.
Yeah. Well, I could see how it could take place after Oh My Goddess because of Piper's reaction to the storm.
Right.
But because she knows how powerful and how strong they can be, but also she's an earthquake gal, not a hurricane gal. So I could see how it could be just before or just after.
That's exactly where I put it. Yeah. But most of it, they just had a lot of references to the show, which I liked. So I had noticed some things. They mentioned Melody, the muse, and the reason Paige quit painting was because she was a perfectionist. That's what they say in the episode. But then we learn here that it may have been to avoid competing with Sharon. So maybe there was more to that. So that was interesting.
The one other place I think I could place this book, if we don't count the Jason arc, if we kind of ignore Phoebe's part just a little bit, would be just before the Power of Three Blondes, when the temping really kind of makes its case, and Paige is at the fruit packing plant, and Gremlins and
she's already temping in the premiere though. She's doing the dog walking and stuff.
That's right.
So, because it's the first episode of season 6 is when we first seen the temping. So it'd still be where we put it right before,
just around that area.
Yeah, but yeah, she gets the idea to temp because of Sharon. I think that is pretty neat that she threw that in there. Mm-hmm. Paige does remember the mechanical baby she got for Piper and Leo in Black as Coal. She mentioned that, which I thought was fun. And this is where the case for like Sharon and Margaret being messing around with stuff they don't understand was because she talks about how Phoebe told her about the love spell and animal pragmatism that she did for the college girls. But see, that case is a little bit different because those girls didn't know what they were doing at all. They bought a store book spell book and they're like, we're going to do this because it's fun. Whereas these people actually were researching it and learning.
Well, and I think it only really worked for them is because they had
Phoebe's voice.
Yeah. So Phoebe casted the spell in a sense. And they kind of give me the vibes of, like you said, Jana with the amulet. And there's that really fun. No, I'm thinking about Miss Hellfire. When they bring home that witch or witch
Marcy
practitioner.
Stedwell.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one, not Jana. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's like, oh, this, and this. She's really fun about it. She's energetic. These two are like super serious about it.
Right.
Like they went through boot camp.
Mm-hmm. And Marcia Stedwell, she was another witch practitioner. But she's like, let me stay at your house. Like, but yeah, she was all about it, but she wasn't, she's innocent. And I think it's very similar. Why is it okay for her to do it, but not these people?
I think she had more of a fun tone. Like she's gonna sage your house. She's gonna make you a bomb to ease your hands.
I guess because they're trying. You think they're gonna try to like sell you and stuff, try to force their stuff on you.
Yeah, they're not taking. Okay. It's like Western medicine and Eastern medicine. They go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. You need doctors and homeopathic remedies, but these two are solely just homeopathic remedies will save my life. Yeah. And I think that's why there's that whole issue.
That's the danger of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
From Ben's perspective, I mean, I can see, because in a way, Sharon's kind of doing a 180 on her personality from when I guess they were first together.
Sure.
So.
Because it wasn't something she was aware of back then and only now has become a recent thing in her life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Would you have wanted this to be an episode?
Honestly, no.
Me neither.
Glad this is a book.
Yeah, there's nothing that played out in this novel that I have a desire to see. Maybe the alligator and the killer azalea plant. That might be fun to see, but that's it. There's that one little scene. I don't need this story. I don't need these problems.
Yeah, I mean, the vacation aspect. I mean, it's okay. The mortal spell work, it's fine, but it's nothing. It wasn't something I was on my edge reading.
No. Yeah, this was a very kind of bland book. I mean, I can't say that's bad. I wouldn't say it's like awful. It just doesn't do anything for me.
It's the first one I've read in 12 years. So
there you go. Have you read all of them before?
No, I read the Warren Witches and Leo Rising and Seasons of the Witch Volume 1.
Okay.
I was in 5th grade. I read them then, got made fun of, kept reading them.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was reading them as they were released. It was like every other month they would have a new book, and I'd be ready. I'm like, okay, I'm going to Barnes & Noble, going to pick it up, and I was reading them in school. Yep. I kind of thought about what people would think of me, but no one ever made fun of me for my charm. They knew my obsession.
How big was your class?
Maybe like 16.
Really?
Yeah.
My whole grade was 30 people.
Oh.
Yeah. So small towns. And so I would be in one class. There's 20 of us in one, 15 in another, something like that. Just read my book. People are looking at me like, what the fuck is that? Don't worry about it. Let me read. Yeah.
And I mean, when I was because I went to a private school too, so that's probably why it's smaller, because our whole grade was the class. back in in high school, it was a little bit different. We had about maybe 200 or 200 people in the class then in high school. But my private school, it was very small classes. But yeah, people didn't bother me. They knew I was obsessed with it, and I was never shy about being obsessed with it. And
I mean, I didn't hide that I was obsessed with it, but you and I had two different experiences about it then.
Yeah. Maybe it was a different time, because probably when you were in it, it was after the show was like over. You're reading it, right? Or it was near the end?
Yeah, so I would say it would have been over for about 3-ish years at that point.
So maybe that's why, because they're thinking like, what is that weird stuff? For me, everybody knew the show. It was because it was airing. So
Yeah.
it was very popular. Everybody knew who the show. Either you liked it or you didn't like it, but you knew the show, and because it was current, people didn't question it. Maybe that's why.
I made friends with a lot of middle-aged moms when I was 12 reading that book.
Like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you the story. Because I have braces right now. I went in for a tightening.
Yeah.
And I was telling the girl that was doing my tightening about the podcast. I do charm stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I think my parents watched that." I was like, "What?" I was like, "How old are you?" So I was like, "Wow, it was scary. It was crazy."
Because I wouldn't say I'm getting like back into Charmed, but like the collecting aspect, the art aspect, and creating and all that fun stuff. If I meet someone in the wild and we're talking about Charmed, we can look at each other and say, "Hi, gay," because.
And isn't that funny? I did have a episode a while back where we talked about like why that is.
Not many straight men appeal to it.
Yeah, which I mean, I do know straight men that like it. I do know straight men that watch it. One of them was on the podcast. He was on the Seasons of the Witch Volume 1 episode, actually. My old friend I grew up with, and he, when I went to meet Alyssa Milano, there was a straight guy in the audience who, people who liked the girls a lot, who were attracted to them and stuff like that. I guess that's part of it.
I just like their outfits and their powers.
Yeah, I never paid attention to the outfits so much. Certain ones stand out, but I was never a fashion person either. I'm just like,
Oh, well.
But maybe that's the bisexual in me.
Yeah. The Dark Lighter from season 1, Love Hurts.
Yeah, Alec.
I would say he was my sexual awakening.
He was cute. He was a cute guy. Yeah.
And I would watch that episode a lot as a kid, and my parents are like, "Why do you like that so much?" I don't know. Never knew.
Yeah. Too funny. All right. Well, I guess that's all I have for that part. The next thing is rhyme time. We have 2 spells.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue. Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
So this is a big shift from the last book, which was like saturated in spells, completely saturated in spells. Here we have 2, and they're short and sweet and easy.
I don't like these spells, man.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, so here's the first one. This is the Mind Your Own Business spell, the one that Sharon and Margaret performed. A lock of hair from the intended target, bound by blood and ivy vine. These from now will only mind their own business, not yours or mine. That is so awful.
It's
no.
I'm like rubber, you're glue. Whatever bounces off me sticks to you. Like, what?
Yeah, the rhymes are like, they try to rhyme, but they're not quite there. The phrases are odd. They break at weird places.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not. Not at all.
I'm embarrassed.
It's like something you would find in Phoebe's oh God, what are those books called? You graduate high school, you get a
yearbook.
I can't think of it.
Yearbook.
Yes, Jesus, God. It's like the freaky Phoebe spell in the yearbook.
Yeah. And even that was better than this.
Well, yeah. All right, the second one. To reverse the storm stalling spell. It's a power of 3 spell. All 3 sisters must stand at one point of the chalk pentagram designed to stall a storm. Connected to one another through vines, once the spell is spoken, the pentagram must be erased in reverse order as it was drawn. On the power of 3, the spell breaks easy and free.
Face palm.
Oh, Paige's haiku was better.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bad power of 3 spell.
What is this?
Yikes.
Oh,
I feel
God.
cringy reading that.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yikes.
We did that. That's over.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
There you go. So overall, spells horrible. Book meh. So this is not a favorite.
4 out of 10.
Yeah. But we had some really good ones in the past, and there's still some good ones to come. So I'll just carry on.
Maybe they were just having an off day writing it.
Yeah, because Diana G. Gallagher, she has some really wonderful books, and then she has some really not so good books. So
Yeah.
she's kind of hit and miss for me. Next, we have Best Betty rankings.
Seems almost anticlimactic after all this time, doesn't it?
It was the only way to get their powers.
And now I want yours.
Darkest forces, let it be. Hear my plea, bring life to me.
You get locked, frozen, in fear.
Best Baddie. And there's none because there's no baddie in this. There's no bad guy in this book.
I thought there would be, honestly. When I read the summary, because I kind of breezed over it, I thought we were going to work with some ghoulish ghost witch who was controlling the storm.
Right. Because they introduced this whole thing where, like, the graves and this haunted part of the interstate. That was very interesting. Why didn't they expand on that?
Why mention it even?
Yeah. Because that's where I was like, I'm in this. Tell me more. And then it went nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fully envision like Scooby-Doo and the witch's ghost kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what we'd be working with. Like some dead vengeful witch is coming for the whole state of Florida, or Agnes, Sharon, descendant, somebody. But it's like, yeah, there's dead people over there. We don't go across that road anymore. Anyway, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. That's done. The next thing, I do have a short grimoire game for you.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire games.
Some people think this is entertainment.
It's
What's my prize? I'm treat driven. What's my prize?
Oh God, what is your prize? I don't know. Claps, a round of applause. But I have 4, I guess, word groups.
Mm-hmm.
So give you 3 words,
mm-hmm.
and then you have to try to tell me which storm from the series that was based on those 3 words, or which episode it was from. Either one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no!
Like now you think of like, when was there storms in the series? Let me see if I can remember this.
I remember 2. That's it. I remember 2.
Okay. And they're probably both in here because I only have 4. So
God, I hope so.
All right. First one: raincoat, umbrella, manor.
Manor. Am I supposed to pick the story that all 3 of those words are in, or a storm?
This is one.
Okay.
This is one episode.
Raincoat, umbrella is Piper. What about Wyatt? Oh my goddess, Golden Gate Bridge. You know, Piper's having her just way with the town, right?
No, think harder. Think of it all together. The raincoat, the umbrella, and then manor. Steps.
Oh, I'm not dumb. The first episode.
First episode.
Pilot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think of like, Piper walking up the stairs with her umbrella, and she comes in,
and it changes.
Yeah. Right. It does change. Yes. And then I think of like Jeremy in his raincoat hiding, like, I'm watching the manor.
Okay, Richard Ramirez.
Yeah. This one. All right. Catering. Jade. Wedding.
Oh, Asteria Skies, open up and do your worst. Isn't it the Hecate wedding? And those ugly
Yes.
bridesmaids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Asteria and Perseus, open sky and Geo West. So yeah, Waiting from Hell for that one.
Good episode. I like that episode.
People hate that episode, but I don't think
Really?
it's. I mean, yeah, that's one of the people think of it as like one of the worst episodes ever. And I think
it.
I think it is kind of a melodramatic and it is very campy, but I love that. I think it's a very fun episode for that reason. It's very like soap opera, very Dynasty, and it cracks me up. It's like give me my pill, like it cracks me up.
I liked it personally. I thought the whole story fit well. I thought it flowed well. I mean, it may have been a little fast paced towards the end, but also they're working with 44 minutes.
Yeah. You know, I don't hate the episode. It's not my favorite, but I do stand by it when people go like, "That's the worst episode ever." So, Earth, Titan, Piper.
It was the Grimlocks, wasn't it?
Totally. That's it. You got it.
Oh my goddess.
Yeah. So that's, since you mentioned that one. So yeah, because she's like lightning. You know, she has the lightning. She does the rain. She has everything. She has earthquake, lightning, rain, wind, whatever. But that's that storm. I see this lightning on the cover, and I think of the one from that episode.
Yep.
This one's gonna be a little tricky, but
maybe not. I think I know it.
Okay.
I'll guess first, and then you can tell me. Let's see if I'm right or if I'm dumb. Okay. I want to say it's season 6, the dragon episode, when it's like the shutters blow open, there's rain, there's wind.
That is one of them. No, that is one of them. That is a storm. And I thought about putting that in here, but I didn't put it in here.
So extra credit, okay.
Extra credit, yes. So yeah, because the dragon comes out and it's like lightning's like like in the nighttime. So there is that for sure. This one is tricky because I don't think it's often considered a storm, but I see it. All right. Rebirth, Soul, Portal.
Rebirth. Oh, is it season 4? Paige and Phoebe switch bodies. It's in the that fun little limbo world.
Limbo, yeah, Enter the Demon. Yes, because there's some wind and there's some lightning when they first enter, but most of the lightning is happening like actually in the portal that's like kind of stuck in them in. There's lightning happening in there. And around them is more just kind of gray, but I consider it kind of a storm because they do have that stuff going on.
Another one you could put in a 5th one that's demon driven. When that demon sends them to their alternate realities, but Piper's battling him alone. He's using some kind of wind power, and then he opens up the ground.
Yeah, My 3 Witches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 6, episode 6. Yeah.
So I got 6 points instead of 4.
There you go. We added the extra credit. Tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
This is the moral or lesson that we could have learned from this story. It can be serious or silly or what have you.
If you're going to be nosy, commit.
Yeah, that works.
Don't be a half-assed detective.
Yeah.
Communication. Just really communication. And confrontation, but in a normal way.
Yes. Don't be rude. All very good. All very good stuff.
You?
My tip is, just because you aren't an expert or if you're new to something doesn't mean you're not meant for it.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's bad for you. Decide for yourself what works for you without outside pressures. You know?
You took the road less traveled. You took the high road. I took the gutter lane and just went for it.
Right. Yeah, you know. All right, cool. Well, we reached the end. Where can people follow you and find you on the social medias and see your collection?
Well, all the Charmed Facebook groups there are. I'm in a few of them, but
yeah, that's true.
Mainly Instagram, just Jared, spelled funny, JERRED _Bolden on Instagram.
Cool.
Just when I work on the book more.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I talk about that. We didn't get to talk about that. You're working on making your book too, which is exciting.
By hand.
Yes, by hand.
It's fun when it's not a headache.
Because you're drawing your pictures, drawing your pages. It's very amazing. I did have John Roberts, the drag queen, Miss Marshmallow, on. We talked about how he was doing that too. It's an endeavor, it's an undertaking, but people that have the patience to do it, I commend you. So,
yeah. Before I kind of like finalize anything, I get advice from one of the artists who work on the book. He's helping me with it.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I love it. You can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches everywhere. Instagram is the main place, but we're also on Facebook and YouTube. Twitter, it's Words of Witches. And then if you feel like talking, you can email wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com. I have 2 other podcasts. There's Hanging with the Halliwells, where we're talking about season 8. We're almost done with that one. We have like 6 episodes left to go because Sean is watching it for the first time ever. That's fun. And then we have a new one, an X-Men one called Solving for Our X, which is a lot of fun. We're doing the animated series of X-Men. Or you can follow my personal one, KGZ87. There's lots of places to find me.
You'll have to do the reboot next.
Oh, I haven't seen it, I'm afraid.
Oh, I did. I watch it all.
Yeah?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Okay.
But I watch it because my theory is
curiosity.
I can't talk shit unless I haven't seen it. Unless I have seen it.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I mostly just say I don't know her, because when people ask me, it's like I don't know her because I don't really know her.
it's botched. It's a facelift gone wrong.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Your destiny still awaits.